So most assuredly, this will be probably a shorter show than usual, but we still wanted to bring that consistency and transparency to you guys because we have been doing that 2 weekly show. So we are going to experiment. I don't know for sure if we can commit to that two show a week format going forward, but we have enjoyed it. So what I'm going to do for now is say that we're going to try. I know tonight, for example, we were dealing with some schedules. We were able to make this work. Again, it might be a bit of a shorter show, but given the duration of the season and how much lineups we actually have to review and talk about, I would prefer quantity over quantity, anyways. So, with that being said, I'm just glad the guys could join me tonight. I do have a clip that I pulled up from a Detroit Lions fan who really has done a really good job, kind of deep diving, kind of a amateur YouTube kind of beat reporter, does a lot of great work. I was talking to him today on Twitter. His perspective of the fourth down, Dan Campbell stuff, is very unique and it aligns a lot with what I kind of believe. So I wanted to play that clip at one point, but just if we could do a quick recap of what you guys saw the weekend. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys want a break? Because I've heard from football fans like they're ready for this break, and even I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm a DFS player. I can roll with this. I'm used to having to grind every week, and then at the end of the game, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm like, I'm kind of not glad the Lions were out of it, but I'm like, I really did exhale. That was the first thing I did. I kind of exhaled, and I was like, I need a break. So it was kind of an interesting feeling. What did you guys think?
Well, I just I like the week before the Super Bowl. This is one of my favorite weeks to just just enjoy the season, what we saw throughout the year, and
Mhm.
put it all together. Because I like to go back and watch things, and actually look at what I think is going to happen in the Super Bowl. But I'm a nerd with that stuff, so.
Well, Donnie, I was saying, like, I don't know if I want to commit to doing two shows this week or not, like this one and another one, but I have so much fun, like, off season content and ideas and just creative ways that we can expand our audience potentially. That, like, I might just experiment, like we do a show, and if it's not our best show or if it's not our longest show, then so be it, but it gives us something else because there's a lot of current events that I want to hit on
Yeah,
that
there's plenty of
probably.
things going on in the off season that we'll like. It's not like we won't have topics to talk about.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed Gov the kind of E60 kind of look of like you take a sports topic and you just kind of do a deep dive or a tabletop kind of view of it in a different way. I kind of like those kind of like deeper podcasts. So I would love to experiment with that kind of format, and some of the off-season content we do.
Do we want to talk about how good Vegas was this weekend and how their lines were like dead on for those games?
They were great.
Oh, I'm sorry. You had to flip the games, but yes, if you did that, their lines were dead on.
That's why I say as a gambler, they were great to me. I mean,
I believe I said that on Saturday. I'm like, I wish I personally.
Yeah, we did say that.
I would have made the 4-point spread the Detroit San Fran game and the 7-point spread the Baltimore Kansas City game.
Yeah, we ended up saying that,
and it ended up being a 7-point spread and a 3.5, 4-point spread. So, like, I thought those games, like, I didn't get to watch them. As I was telling you guys, I had to work. So after the Zay Flowers touchdown, I didn't get to see any of the games. But I honestly want to rewatch that Detroit San Fran game when it comes on NFL Network.
They sold the J-Mo legacy game that the Lions fans have been waiting for a long time.
Well, I mean, he was due. Like, the volume, like, the way they were using him, they wanted him to have a rookie breakout game, and they wanted it earlier so that they could justify giving him, like, number 2 wide receiver work. But it never happened until this game where he proved. Like, now, if anything, like, would you see J-Mo as their solid number 2 going into next year?
That's how they should be looking at it.
Really? Because I'm still hearing people say that, okay, J-Mo's a slot guy. You still need to go get another receiver with St. Brown. Well,
I don't think they're gonna.
No, like
if a veteran comes, I'd do it for a veteran. I wouldn't.
If a veteran wanted to come, that's the thing. It depends on the veteran. Like, you're not signing OBJ for a 1-year deal,
right?
To do that, no.
As as much as I love Jamison Williams, he still only got 3 targets in that game, and Josh Reynolds got 4. I don't think, and Jameer Gibbs even got 6, but I don't know if we can count that. J-Mo has not proven to be a number 2 guy yet.
Right, I see that. Like, he definitely flashes talent. And
Yeah.
him and St. Brown could be a good 1-2
But
partner.
I don't think him and Goff will work consistently.
But then again, Goff has every other weapon necessary. Like,
That's what I was going to say. I think it's more of a disconnect between him, JMO, and Jared Goff. Because there was even a time in that 49ers game when you go back and watch it, Goff, where he missed Jamison Williams, or Jamison Williams mistimed his jump, depending on your perspective. Because,
Yeah.
I mean,
he made rookie mistakes. Okay.
It was
Well,
one
it
of
could
those-
have been Goff. It really might have been Goff.
Maybe Goff overthrew it and he wasn't.
You'll see
expecting that
it because it's one of
Yeah.
those plays where if JMO keeps running at the pace that he needed to run at, he catches the ball easy. Or you look at it and say JMO didn't make the adjustment on Jared Goff's throw. Either way, it was a wide open touchdown that they were on the wrong page.
J-Mo should have had 2 touchdowns. He should have smashed even more than he did.
I mean, I would say of the 4 teams this weekend, I think it's clear Detroit is the best moving forward. Like, going into next year, I think they should be like, I could definitely see some regression for Kansas City. They their defense carried them.
The
to a
defense,
Super Bowl this year.
we've seen this before. Usually, teams that rely on their defense this heavily, if
They don't
do
get
not
two.
fix
They
the
don't get
offense-
2 straight years.
No, you don't get
Defense
2
is
years.
going to take a step back.
I can give you the odds that
Now
actually-
Rice is solid, so the KC offense could take a step forward if they get another weapon. But
does
like,
Kelsey regress?
they got again? If Kelsey retires, then that's a totally different thing. But like, KC got there on their defense. I don't see him doing that again. Baltimore is going to have this weird hangover where, like, because of the MVP and because of everything and because of the hype, they're going to come into the season as if they won the Super Bowl and have that entire Super Bowl hangover, but they're going to be on the gus. They're going to be under the gun the whole season.
Yeah, well, they
Like,
need to get
it's
a
funny.
their running
Like,
back
they're going to have
rotated out.
all the bad stuff of a Super Bowl hangover and none of the leeway. They're going to be under the gun as if nothing happened, because nothing happened. They didn't do shit. They got kicked out in the championship game. You did nothing this year.
bullied by Kansas City. Absolutely, like that's the only word. They were bullied.
Then you go to the other side, and San Fran's probably still going to be solid, but they are going to be a year older.
Yeah.
I think Detroit is in the best spot.
And McCaffrey gets a lot of work, and running backs that get a lot of work generally. And this is 2 years now where he stayed completely healthy, getting this workload.
No, yeah, this is his window. He needs to get it because he could start having some more injuries. He could just have a bad year. Like, I agree. Like, San Francisco is going to be a year older and a year for worse. Baltimore is the same way, and they're going to be under the gun with all the pressure. Like, all the pressure Lamar had getting that contract, everything happened this year. He's going to have it all next year and have to do it all over again with a team that's probably not going to be as good.
Well, they might be better offensively.
Maybe. Like, they're going to have to, like, replace Odell, whatever that means.
Draft a new guy.
Draft a new guy, get another vet, something like that. Like, you're still hoping Andrews and Likely and Zay are healthy all year. And then most likely they're going to have a run-first team like they always do. So what's going to happen when they need to throw? Are they going to be able to? Are they going to go get a pass protector? Are they going to, like? I think the weapons are okay for Baltimore right now, even. But if they couldn't pass protect and all they could really do with their offensive line is run the ball, it's going to make them very one-dimensional.
I think you actually have a good measured take to this, Alan, and I want to get it because for a long time I think like people got this perception that you wanted to hate Lamar Jackson. I don't think that was the case.
I do. That's a solid perception. But I'm going to be realistic about it. Like I saw him make a couple of good throws before I had to go to work. And my whole thing thinking that was like, man, he might be about to make me eat some crow in this championship game.
Fair. I guess that's basically what I mean. So, even though you have a bias, your perspective to fairness.
I have that weird thing where, like, I understand I have a bias. I know, like, however you want to say it. I know I have a bias. I understand my bias. I get my bias. I can try to see through and past my bias. I know the reason I don't like him is because of my bias.
But you know what's sad is,
but I can also see why my bias is. My bias is because he doesn't do a lot with the passing game, which is what I expect of a quarterback. Lamar, as we all see, is a running quarterback. His offense should be run first and then let him make good throws.
But
If he has to drop back and just throw his way into a game,
yeah.
I figured he would have trouble doing that.
Listen,
Now, it could be the whole like again, my bias on Lamar Jackson, I'm willing to say it's the whole offense. I'm willing to say young receivers and an offensive line that can't pass block wasn't going to help Lamar become a better passer. But I also have been hearing people talk about Lamar becoming a better passer all season with nothing for me to say or like no.
I got a stat for
nothing
you.
to fall
I have
back
a stat
on that
for
show
you.
that.
In the pocket, Lamar Jackson, 3,000 yards this year, 68 completion percentage. That's solid. Like, no matter how you look at it, that's solid.
For a run-first team that doesn't need to throw for 4,000 yards, and also kind of because...
No, that's exclusively in the pocket numbers. This is not outside the pocket.
Yeah.
Exclusively in the pocket, 68 completion percentage.
So in the pocket, and how much of that is pressured? Or did every time he get pressured, he went out of the pocket?
But that,
under no pressure, he was able to throw for average quarterback stats.
But here, that's my point.
Because that's what 3,000 yards and those touchdowns are. That's average quarterback stats. That's nothing special.
But that again, that's only in the pocket.
Stuff. Yeah, that's only in the pocket.
So in the pocket,
and that's not saying it's a clean pocket every time.
Again, well, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I'd want to know. Because I assume if it's not a clean pocket, then he's getting out of the pocket, and now it's not going to be accounted for in those plays because he's not in the pocket.
Another thing I'd like to point out, too, is that in this game is a good example of how lacking the Baltimore receiving options are, where they had Zay Flowers getting 8 targets, and he did exactly what his draft capital says, but then the next top target getter, for lack of a better word, for Baltimore receiving is Justice Hill. He had 7 targets behind Zay Flowers' 8. They needed another guy to step up.
Have Mark, you bring him back. How do Andrews and Likely not?
He had 3 targets, and they combined for 5. I think.
Two of them should have combined for 12 plus targets.
Yeah, I think they both had 4 or 5 combined.
5 combined with Likely. Yeah.
I think that might have been. I'd like to see. I'd like to go back and watch the numbers. I'd like to know how much 12 personnel they played.
Okay,
but Andrews back. I know they didn't do a lot all year. Like they basically never ran 12 personnel all year. But that was because Andrews was hurt. So you weren't going to run 2 tight end all year.
There was enough where I noticed it a couple times.
With Andrews back, they tried to get some 2 tight end in there.
They got enough where it's not like, okay, why are they not both on the field? Like they both had snaps.
But
okay, and at the same time,
there was some.
See, that's the thing. Like their normal offense had a fullback or had 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, but they abandoned the running game too. They completely abandoned running it. They didn't want to run to that game,
which was really fucking weird.
That's what would screw me up. It's like, why would you not just even if you're trying to prove the point of Lamar's going to get to the Super Bowl with his arm, which might have been the conspiracy thing to happen, well, then you got then the conspiracy worked because Lamar can't throw. He couldn't throw you into a Super Bowl.
Even then,
you should have just been able to run into that Super Bowl.
That's exactly the point. You don't change the way you win games when it counts. That's just that would be a stupid game plan if that's what the Ravens coaching staff did.
Well, I mean, I'd have to look at the game, but
for example,
they were throwing it early. They were not from the first quarter that I got to see, they were not running as normally as they did.
Yeah, no, Gov. Here's the thing. Gus Edwards, 3 rushes, 20 yards. Justice Hill, 3 rushes, 3 yards. Zay Flowers, 2 rushes, 4 yards. And Lamar Jackson had 8 rushes.
Which is on par for Lamar.
I was about to say, Lamar led the team in rushing attempts. That's normal.
Not when your whole team has a total of 9 carries outside of your quarterback.
Yeah.
Why is Gus Edwards out of the game plan?
There were plenty of games this year where Lamar had 9 carries and no other back had more than 8 or 9 themselves.
What was fucked up about that game plan, too, is that the Chiefs were middle of the road when it comes to stopping the run. That's where you hit the Chiefs, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, the Chiefs have been very good on the outside in the secondary this year. So, I would have thought the way to win this game is to run it and control the clock. Yeah. And they decided not to, and Lamar... I guess for lack of a better, to agree with my boy Cam, Lamar decided to go full game manager, which he's not, so he sucked at it. He's more of a playmaker. He's more of a playmaker than a game manager when it comes.
Here's the
great quarterbacks are both. They know when to just take what the defense is giving them, and they can go and make a play. Lamar decided to not make any plays on the ground like he normally would. And then...
Oh, he made
Good
plays on the ground. It's just that
I heard that he caught one of his own balls or
He
something.
did catch one of his own passes,
So
yes.
I remember that happening to Cam in a game one time. He threw a ball, got tipped. Cam caught it at the 2-yard line.
This was ridiculous, though, because it got tipped really high.
He gained
And it was an interception, and Lamar jumped in front of the ball and caught it under the safety.
And he gained 15 yards. And to Gov's point, he is a playmaker in that way. And to merge your point with Gov here, to show that you guys, to show the kind of dysfunction of that game, it's you could bring up a stat that disproves Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, and then Gov could say, well, he's not really a quarterback; he's more of a playmaker. And then I was listening to the Ringers, Melody Rubin, who's a big Ravens fan, and actually she sounded a lot like Gov, who's kind of a negative Nancy when it comes
Game
to Lamar
changer.
Jackson.
That's the word Cam used. Like, he was a game changer, not a game manager.
That's a perfect
But
way.
in that championship game, he decided to not make as many game-changing plays and just
Lamar,
try to manage a win.
You can look at, 3 plays definitively that Lamar made that could have won the game.
Sure, but Donnie, okay, so she's a huge Ravens fan, right? And this was her take. She said, unfortunately, as good as Lamar Jackson either played or didn't play, depending on your perspective, the narrative is going to be that the Ravens failed again. So
the narrative is Lamar Jackson can't win the games.
So
and you can't say anything to disprove it. There's nothing to disprove it, and there's all the
no matter
evidence.
where you fall in the argument, he still hasn't overcome that hurdle. And she said
that's right. It's 100% right.
Wins are not a quarterback stat, and Lamar gets a bunch of them, and I don't give him any of the credit.
But neither are losses.
That's it. Wins and losses are not a quarterback stat, so I'm not giving him any credit for all of those wins, for having 2 MVP seasons, for those 2 13 wins. I'm giving him no credit for those wins, but I'm not dinging him for the losses. I'm looking at his play, and his play to me shows that he's not the great quarterback that everyone wants him to be.
Well,
he's a very good playmaker. He's a game changer. You can run a style of offense, and it will be effective almost always. But like we see, when you get in the playoffs and you're in the weird scenario where you're not running your offense, whether it's the defense schemes and takes you out of your game plan, or your coaching staff decides to do something crazy, Lamar's not a guy who can just go on the fly and do something new and win.
And technically, the quarterback record is a stat for quarterbacks.
It is. It's one of those stats that, because wins and losses are so...
Yes, but I can't blame Drew Brees for not winning.
I can't just give all the credit for the wins on the quarterback.
Drew Brees,
which is crazy, because I'm not going to give any of the credit for the win, but I still expect the quarterback, who's a good quarterback, to go in after a loss and take the blame. That's what I expect. I expect my leader quarterback to go in after a loss, go talk to the media. This is what I could have done to be better. I'll do what I can to make sure this team is better. Even if it was a dropped balls from receiver, even if it was all the pressure in the world because the offensive line can't hold up, good quarterbacks got to do that. Again, I didn't get to see Lamar's interview at the end. I don't know if he did those things, if he said all the right stuff. If he did, he's on a better foot. He usually does, and he probably is going to be on a good foot. But like I said earlier, I think he's going into next season with all of the same fire he had under, all of the same scrutiny, all of the same everything.
Oh, it's worse.
As if he was going into this year.
So much worse.
No. That's it. It's going to be all of the same going into this year, but then he gets none of the clout or none of the extra stuff of nothing's going to matter. He can do the exact same. He can be MVP, win 13 games, number 1 seed, and no one's going to care until he gets to the Super Bowl now.
To your point,
himself. He is now Super Bowl or bust, or everyone's going to say he had a bad career.
And Juno brings up a good point too that we pretty much just talked about too. The Chiefs' defense is terrific on the outside to stopping the wide receivers, and the Ravens were like, let's just hit them out there anyway. Screw the run, which is exactly how they've been winning fucking games all year. It's weird.
Yeah, it was the craziest. I would have thought Kansas City would come out and try to stop the run, but maybe they had fronts. Maybe they were putting birds on fence. Maybe there was plenty of good reasons why Baltimore was like, hey, the best thing to do is run this short passing game because they've got all the dudes up front. We're not going to be able to run in the middle. It's going to have to be Lamar either running outside or go do with the passing game.
But if
Maybe they
Gus
saw
Edwards-
that early and started to attack, but it seems to me like after that first touchdown, they kind of went through all of their scripted passing stuff, and now it's who can make a play in the passing game. And that team is not equipped to make plays in the passing game. They didn't have the receiver depth. They didn't have the talent at the pass catcher position, and Lamar is not that kind of quarterback.
So let me set this up so we can transition to here into the Lions game quickly, and then we can say what we need to say there. I do got a quick clip to play to kind of prove my point as well, because I think it's better articulated than I could do. But it would be almost like if I invited the three of you over to dinner. There's a difference of saying of like, oh, that's not my favorite food, or that salt and pepper taste on that food isn't my style. Like, that's not my preference. That would be different than starting a food fight. And so, like, when I invite you over to my house, I expect a certain level of emotional maturity when we all sit at the table. It doesn't mean that everyone has to eat the same thing. It doesn't mean that we have to, digest it the same. But there is a level of respect, I feel like, even in fandom, that we got to have. Like, these people acting like Lamar Jackson's a terrible quarterback or doesn't deserve, MVP because he failed in the playoffs. Like, to me, that's preposterous. But Gov does have a point. The bounty, for lack of a better word, is still going to be there, that he has to win a Super Bowl for his legacy long term, his Hall of Fame, credential to matter. Both things can be true.
Well, this is what I'm really interested in. If the Niners win the Super Bowl, do people start paying running backs now? Because now we've seen a running back win. Because this is a narrative that's been around that you don't win with the top paid running backs.
I just think that's a stupid narrative. Here's what I think. I think you pay offensive weapons. Like, look at Jahmyr Gibbs. He was taken high in the draft. Was that a smart decision or was that a bad decision? It depends on how your offense uses that weapon. Is Kamara a running back or is he just an offensive weapon for the Saints? Le'Veon Bell the same. It's like we can't just look at one position and say like, oh, we need to pay this position now because the best player at that position is performing.
But that's what happens.
Well,
isn't CMC the top paid running back right now?
Yeah, but that's my point. Is I don't care what.
No, he's not. I'm pretty sure that's Miles Sanders.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. He got like $9 million a year when he signed with the Panthers this year.
Sanders is making a lot.
I think McCaffrey's only making like
McCaffrey
7 or 8.
I think is getting more.
No, because McCaffrey signed his deal I'm pretty sure he's only getting like 8 a year.
No, I think you're wrong. I think the highest paid running backs are like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, right now McCaffrey's not getting his money, but he did sign a 4-year, $64 million deal. And he's going to get the most of it this year and next year, so he's up there.
He's about to get 16 a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Alvin Kamara's averaging 15 a year. Taylor just signed his deal. Okay, that's the one that just signed. He's getting 14. And then Henry's deal just ended.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is 7th. Wow.
Yeah, no, Miles got his fucking money.
To not play anymore.
I mean, that proves to you that, like, when you make a guy a focal point of your offense.
But yeah, McCaffrey, Kamara, Taylor, those are your top 3.
Oh, by the way, Gov, just to let you know, Mark Andrews played 18 snaps, which was 31% of them. So he was in for like third downs and stuff, essentially.
Okay, so they were trying to ease him back in. He wasn't really ready.
Yeah. And he still got 2 targets out of it, which went nowhere, but he tried.
Also, for reference, I don't know how much you know the system, and I don't think it super matters. The offensive line Pro Football Focus grades for the Ravens, the best was a 74, and everybody else was below 70, which is really awful.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah, this offensive line is significantly worse this year for the Ravens.
Yeah, which makes it weird why you were passing so much against such a good team. I guess they were scared of Chris Jones. That has to be it.
Maybe.
Hey, none of this makes sense, and I really wish we knew somebody from the Ravens to explain this to us because it's mind-boggling.
Oh no, it's because you've been hiding your offensive line all year.
Maybe that's it. That's even then. Yeah, it's all perplexing. And,
I think that's what it is. I think we've been hiding that offensive line all year behind like Gus Edwards getting a lot of goal line touchdowns and Lamar Jackson being able to escape a lot.
I mean, is it really hiding though when they're known to run the ball a lot?
I mean, it just happens to play with your strength.
And then they change their strategy when it counts, which, fuck, man. I stumble over these words because I still can't make sense of it, and it's frustrating.
3 rushes for 20 yards for Gus Edwards makes no sense. Why'd you just not give him the ball? Like, they all playoffs long, Gus Edwards was not in the game plan.
Evan, I appreciate that you're a very linear thinker. Like you like things that make sense. Like you want them to follow a sequence. Honestly, I think Harbaugh has kind of earned that like that reputation, and he's earned a long enough leash, for lack of a better word, to become experimental. So he's experimented with new defensive coordinators, with new offenses, and new ways to use the weapons. And people are like, well, he's a good coach and he has a legacy, so he can do that. And sometimes when you have that big of a leap, you get a bit too crazy with your experimentation. And I think you're right. They probably should have played more to their strengths. And, that's where they might have just, tried to dress up the pig a little too much. They might have.
Because the thing is that even if the run game doesn't work for some reason, just get Justin Tucker in field goal range and win that way. Because he only got one field goal.
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, you held the Chiefs to 17 points when Marlon Humphrey only played 13 snaps all game. Your best defender did not play, basically.
Yeah, he had one tackle.
He wasn't on the field. I mean, your best defender didn't play, and you still held Kansas City to 17. They did enough for you to win. And
Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton did a good job stepping up with the tackles, but still, I mean, they did a pretty good job holding the Chiefs to only 17. Well, let's be real. Matt Nagy did a good job holding them to 17. But, I mean, point being, the fucking Ravens, just get Justin Tucker in field goal range and win that way. Why can't you just do that?
Yeah, they clearly could.
Well,
have.
Mahomes played perfect.
Just win with 50.
Of
with
being a
5 field
game
goals.
manager.
That's all they needed.
Just because you get to the Super Bowl either way. Who cares?
I don't want to get off the AFC Championship because I don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
I really don't. I could rewatch that game 12 times. I don't understand why you would abandon your game plan all year long.
Well, Donnie,
I don't even think they called did they even call an option play all game long? Like, you didn't call a read option all game.
I mean, the script was in, and then Detroit decided to not fucking follow through in their game.
Well, wouldn't that be Campbell-like? So let's see. That's why I say that we could easily do a second show if we wanted to do this week, but I just don't want to commit to it for sure because we didn't know we would be talking about the AFC Championship game that long, but I feel like it was good content. But let's get over to the Lions game. As a Lions fan, I just want to say this because people told me like,
I agree with Juno's comment. Fraud watching. I'm watching. I've been watching for 3 years. It's been on fraud watch for me.
But here's the thing:
he's not a fraud. Sorry, go ahead, Logan. Sorry.
Lamar is definitely not a fraud. Like he is the MVP.
He might be a frog. Like you might think he's a quarterback and turns right back into the frog.
I think that's more Patrick Mahomes, according to a lot of fans.
No, he just sounds like a frog.
He sounds like Kermit. Right.
Like if Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden unzipped and was Swamp Thing, okay, cool. Swamp Thing's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It would make sense.
If you had stopped at unzip, I'd be like, whoa, pause.
Yeah.
Doug did say he was up for all the shenanigans that Juno had to offer and would highlight some of that. By the way, talk about highlights and just fun. If you guys are loving some of Gov's content tonight, he does have a Twitch channel. He streams a lot of games. He talks a lot of DFS strategy. I put the link in the description. We are going to try to do some more networking because we know a lot of people, and that's the thing is the more voices I can bring to this podcast, the more we help each other. It just becomes a family, a network, a real conglomerate. So I'm trying to do that more. Speaking of which, as a Lions fan, people told me, this season's going to be magical. You guys, you're going to love it. But the problem is, I'll be honest, the way I love sports is much different than most people. So I was very proud of this team. But I live by this motto that you act like you've been there before. If if I'm going to get over the culture of the same old Lions, I can't then act surprised that we're facing Matthew Stafford. I can't fall for the Cinderella story of Matthew Stafford. I told everyone that I would be proud of Matthew Stafford if he beat the Lions in a wild card game. I stand by that. I would have been perfectly fine with it. I would have felt like he earned it. It was a very close game. I think that was our hardest game, if I'm being honest, through the whole playoff run. I also stood by Dan Campbell the same way I stood by Jim Schwartz because I like aggressive coaches. Now, I understand if the fourth down stuff, if that kind of aggression isn't your style, but it's my style. It's Dan Campbell's style. So if he's going to do it from week one and you're going to buy it when it works and you're going to, go to the bar and you're going to hoot and holler with your friends when it works, then you got to tolerate when it doesn't because Dan Campbell had went to the press conference and told you, hey, look, in the big moments, I'm preparing my team so they are ready for us to go for it on 4th and 2. And then funny enough, it was 4th and 2. The ball hits, Josh Reynolds right in the hands, and he doesn't execute. And Campbell said, the funny thing about that is, it was the execution that you guys don't like. It wasn't that I went for it on 4th down, because that's what I've been doing all season. The execution is what you didn't like. So, as a fan, I look at the Lions' season execution and say, hey, you know what? We were the third best team out of 32. I'm sorry, that's a success. It's economically a success for the city. As a fan, I got to experience more games with my mom, with my family. We got to talk about more sports. All that stuff is good. Sure, we didn't make the Super Bowl, but come on, if we're being honest, making the Super Bowl, only 2 teams do that. And even Donnie, who's a fan of the Patriots and had that dynasty run, he knows how fortunate he was to experience that. So to expect that every year, I feel like you're just setting yourself up for failure.
The Lions are still favorites for next year, though, because they get to keep Ben Johnson, and they're gonna get to keep a lot of the young talent.
Ben Johnson decided not to go anywhere. Like he could have been a head coach in any of these spots.
Yeah,
he wants to win. I like that. He's gonna go and win Detroit a Super Bowl as an OC, and then have be the highest paid new head coach of all time. Honestly,
Gov, it's actually reported that Seattle and the Commanders offered him jobs at under $15 million. He said he would only consider if it was 15.5. Apparently, he stuck by that. He said he respects Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was the only guy to give him a job. He was a tight ends coach. No one thought much of him.
I think he knows Dan. I think he likes Dan Campbell. He wants to bring that wherever he goes.
I don't know if it will work again.
Thing. Dan Campbell making those calls is what makes him the guy he is.
Right.
But those kinds of risky calls are the ones where most coaches in the league either default to what has been done throughout time, or sometimes they do something crazy. But even then, it's why would you call the most basic play on this risky thing? You're trying to do 4th and 2. Why are you just calling a basic slant or something? Why aren't you doing an end around? Get some motion in there. Do the Dolphins offense kind of stuff. Do what San Fran likes to do and actually run a 4th and 2 play. And Campbell, like Logan says, Campbell gets them ready for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
They just didn't execute this time.
I
applaud them for going for those risky calls. It's one thing to go on 4th and 2 when you're down so much you need it. It's risky, but you also need to do it. He's going on 4th and 2 when he doesn't need to, should probably just take the points. Fuck it, we're going for it. Love that about Dan Campbell. Really do. I also love that the Detroit kept my dream alive, and we get the ultimate Super Bowl showdown captain.
Well, here's the thing. With Dan Campbell, it doesn't feel like the Brandon Staley stuff with the Chargers where he was doing it and it's all analytics.
Them. Staley just
it's completely different. Whereas
it's like I was saying, Dan Campbell
believes it.
Yeah, he believes it, and he's not being dumb about it when he does it. He does it in decent situations where it is risky, but let's go for it and see what happens. And it always puts them in a, like, when they hit it, they're in so much of a better spot than you expect.
Yeah. I did think it was funny though. I think it was one of the first punts that the Lions did. The Niners left their whole defense out there because it was like 4th and 6 on the other side of the field. So the Niners just left their starting defense out there, didn't even have a guy back to return.
Yeah, if they were ready for
Right
Campbell
there.
to pull some bullshit.
Yeah. It's the right thing to do. But
No,
that's
if that's what they're gonna do, then like great. Like I think Campbell and them came in this game. Like I don't know how they collapsed so hard in the second half. Like I told, I didn't get to watch the game. That's the one I kind of want to go. And
you know who I'm
rewatch
most
the tape
disappointed throughout this
What?
weekend, unironically? Brock Purdy. I was so disappointed in Brock Purdy. Again, he doesn't look right.
I actually wanted to bring that up too. And I agree with you, Donnie. He does not look right at all. I'm not convinced Brock Purdy's the guy. He did okay, 20 for 31,
No,
but
it's not that. It's not. Like,
more than half that offense goes through CMC, and that's a big fucking concern. I mean, Debo is at least a damn good wide receiver, but I don't fully understand this offense either because they have CMC, they have Debo whether he's healthy or hurt, and then Ayuk just disappears sometimes.
Yeah, because Ayuk
Well-
is like,
oh, so
as
you didn't
much
see
as
the face
Ayuk-
mask catch, did you, Gov?
I saw nothing.
Okay.
I didn't see a second of the Detroit
Are you going to
Saints game.
rewatch it and you don't want to
When
hear
I
about
get a
it?
chance, yes. When I have time this week, I plan on rewatching that game.
So do you want me to tell you about this catch or not?
We have to talk about that catch at
Yeah.
least briefly.
Might as well talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to explain it, Logan, as you are the residential Lions fan?
So,
Boing catch.
sorry, Evan would know too because Vendor was part of the Bears, I believe, practice squad player. He's not a very good corner at all. Like he's basically an emergency corner because of Jerry Jacobs getting hurt.
I'll be honest, I actually forgot Vildor was with us. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, Vildor tries very hard, but he's undersized. He's not very good. He's only there because Jerry Jacobs is hurt. But like his tenacity to be a dog has always been for the team, and so that's why Dan Campbell just keeps giving him chances. The ball.
Yeah.
So Brock Purdy throws the worst like rainbow deep ball you can imagine. Hits Vildor right in the face mask, like right in the face. Basically, smacks him so hard it comes rolling down his face like it was a raindrop. Tries to like corral it in his hand, and Brandon Ayuk catches it off the tip for what essentially is a touchdown because he's touched on at the 5-yard line.
Just the tip.
And yeah, no, it was ridiculous. The Lions really had a lot go wrong for them that what usually goes right for them.
But see, I won't even use that as an excuse because those are the 50-50 type plays.
No, I agree. Like,
that you want
as a
as a
Patriots
good
fan,
team.
I've been on both sides of it. You
Well,
know,
those are the 50-50 plays that you want to be put in the opportunity to gather. But it's like when you're a good team, you capitalize on those opportunities. We were not a good enough team to beat the 49ers because we didn't capitalize on those teams.
yeah, no, it's like Vildor being on the field shows that there is a talent void still.
Right. And part of that was injury because if Jerry Jacobs isn't hurt, he's probably not on the field for half, But the fact was he was, and we didn't capitalize on those opportunities, And that's the thing about Dan Campbell. He says, like, you might, and you have the right to, you can make the case the fourth down decisions are not the smartest. Like, there's been plenty of fourth downs I didn't like this year, but there's been plenty of them I did enjoy and thought they were worth it. But he said, what you're really arguing about is the execution. The corner was in the perfect position. He didn't make the play because he wasn't good enough. We need a better corner in that situation. Hopefully we get one.
I stand by even if the call works. If I don't like the call, I'm still going to say I don't like the call. I don't care if it works. Just like, I don't understand, and I'll say this time and time again, why did you kick the field goal going into the half that's essentially a 4th and goal, yet you don't want to kick the field goal the very next possession essentially to keep it a 17-point game?
He said it's because if he goes up by more than 17, he feels like he took the soul out of the 49ers.
But he took the field goal the first time to go up 17. Then the second time when he's at 14.
because The rationale was that he felt like that was a momentum thing, and if we get it and we go up by more than 17 the
Yeah,
second time,
I can see that. Like before the half, there's no way to keep that momentum. Like
right?
as much as you want to and think you can't keep momentum going into a half to start the second half. Like there's a break. I don't know who was getting the ball. Were they getting the ball immediately? Like was
No,
it?
the Niners got the ball, drove
Okay,
down.
so they weren't even going to get the ball to start the second half. So momentum didn't mean anything. You just take the points, go up 17. Then your next possession, okay, now if we go for it, we go up 21. That can kill the soul in the second half to be
That's
down
what he thought.
touchdowns.
No.
Like-
If you're going for the kill, I get it because we all know, like, no matter how you feel about it, the Niners were far more talented as a roster. So if you do have to try to kill them and stomp them out early, which they did a good job of that.
They got up early, but then they didn't
the talent showed in the end.
Yeah, the talent showed up in the end, and Detroit was not able to stave them off.
So how about I set up this clip and then we can break down our DFS lineups.
Sounds
And
good.
get out of here. That sound good? I think this clip is very important. It's from a Lions fan, but it's very well structured, and so I just want to play it. Let me know if you guys can't hear it for some reason, but it should work. This was by Bleacher Report. They brought on my YouTube voice of the Detroit Lions, essentially, almost like a YouTube beat reporter at this point. Done a lot of great work. BR actually respected him, brought him on for their post-game show. This was just, I think, a 2-minute clip of kind of his take on Dan Campbell and some of the hate we were getting after the game. Let me make sure this works. Let me see here.
First off, Dan Campbell, there will be 0 second guessing for me on the offseason. And I've explained that. We can point to the Dallas game and chat. We can point to this game. I won't second guess his decision making because what Dan Campbell has instilled in this team is the reason they got to the NFC Championship, right? The reason that they created history here. We may not have won, but this was still historic for the Lions to win multiple playoff games single season, to win the division for the first time ever. Like where they are driving this team, the only reason we have to believe is they're going up. And Dan Campbell's decision making to be aggressive and put in his guys' hands, they didn't come through. But it wasn't a lack of preparation. It's not like you went out there and you didn't have a guy open. It's not like you went out there and you were lost. You had 2 drops on the play. You didn't come through. But you know what? He didn't stand back. He didn't take it out of Goff's hands. He said, let's go. Let's go end this football game. And to me, because of that, because of what he's instilled here since year 1, where he's brought Goff, because of that, Goff is playing his best football we've ever seen in his career. That's the reason that you can't question Dan Campbell's decision making. And for most people that want to question, I will say this: your team's probably not in this spot. So I'll just throw that out there. The Lions are Lions are in the NFC Championship game with three other teams, and they're in a spot that we're going to see them for a long time as one of the top competitors in the NFC because this team isn't going anywhere. For everybody out there, the reason that people are upset is because they're afraid, especially other NFC North fans, because what the Lions have is they have a quarterback that's going to be here for a long time. He's not old. He's going to get an extension, and he's already proved that with a top 3 cap hit, he could take this team to the NFC Championship game and play well enough to win the NFC Championship game on the road in San Fran. That's been his kryptonite. Also, this team is young. This team is built on rookies. This is not built on free agent signings. It's not built on splash moves. It's built on rookies that have developed from year 1 to year 3. This team is built on rookies. We threw up the graphic of what they were in 2023. Our first 4 picks are 4 of our best players on this football team. It's going nowhere because Brad Holmes is going nowhere. We have one of the best scouting departments, and when you throw that together, the future's bright. It's tough, right? This stinks, but at the same time, what we've seen from this team since Dan Campbell's got here, game by game or on a season whole, has been he's always found a way to pull them out of the ditch. Whether that was the 1-6 start, we brought him back to 9-8. This year, when we had a skid and he pulled him back up and he won the division, whether that's an in-game moment against Minnesota, he's always brought this team back. So there's no doubt in my mind, there's no reason to believe he won't do the exact same thing after this season because a lot of these players are core pieces. These guys aren't going anywhere. They're on their rookie deals. They're going to be here for a long time. Future's bright, but it was a heck of a season. You take it for what it was individually, there was 4 teams that got to this spot. And we were 7.5-point underdogs. We lost by 3 points. We had a chance to win. We played well enough to win this game. We didn't beat ourselves in terms of penalties. We just didn't make all the plays that were out there. So if you want to question, that's fine. That's fine. Probably enjoy your team's offseason. You guys have been doing mock drafts for a while now. We're going to get.
So that was the voice of Dosa Dion, who does great YouTube work. He was on BR Report. I talked to him earlier today. He just said make sure you credit them. But I thought that was a brilliant take and pretty much encapsulates what I thought about the game and kind of what you guys thought. Evan, you were kind of quiet there. You're the NFC guy. You're the Bears fan. I think the Bears actually have a bright future, similar to the Lions, where it's like for a while there, people thought, you guys were the laughing stock. you guys finished strong, similar to what the Lions did last year. So I think you can offer a good perspective here, and then we can move on to our lineups if you're ready after that.
Yeah, so he said pretty much everything I expected a true Lions fan to say about this team. They're young, they're hungry, they stood a good chance against beating a 49er team that struggled this season, especially losing 3 in a row. And and this is a team that is very well motivated by a Dan Campbell, who, me personally, I don't call him a great coach yet, but he's still a very damn good coach and knows exactly how he wants to win. And even if there are players like a DeAndre Swift that just don't fit in the system, they'll just fucking go out, give him away to the Eagles, and then draft Jahmyr Gibbs to do it. And they looked a little bit better in the running game. Jamal Williams wasn't doing what David Montgomery could do this year. And this is a team that I think everybody paying attention knew was going to be on top of the NFC North this year, including Bears fans who paid attention, as much as that pains me because, we always treat you guys like the basement dweller team we feel bad for that we beat every Thanksgiving. And the next time we take you on in Thanksgiving, I don't know if that's going to be the case lately because we've got Matt Eberflus back for another year who sucks at coaching. So it's going to be another interesting future.
And it's weird because I've never cared about rivalries. I've never thought like, oh, I have to hate Justin Fields because I have plenty of reasons not to like you, but being a rival of a team or because they play in my division has never been one of them. So I do appreciate that kind of perspective when people have it. It's just never been me.
Yeah.
You guys wanted to say about this weekend before we move on?
I have one more thing.
Go ahead.
We were okay. Everyone on the internet was okay with the kill shot they took against the Rams that succeeded in the playoffs. When they took the Rams out, they let Goff have the ball. I think it was 4th and 2 on their side of the field and said, we are not giving Stafford a chance to win. And that was okay. So if you were okay with that, you have to be okay with how you lost.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's exactly Campbell's style.
And to be fair, Stafford has put that sword through people before. He did it to Tom Brady the Super Bowl year when he went on to win it, like in the walk, or when he beat Tom Brady that year. So, I think that was a smart decision. We actually had a very profitable week. No surprise, I've been mentioning it. My diversify the portfolio take of like making smart investments with your DFS dollar in different areas, whether it be, showdown, whether that be prop bets, if that's your market. I've loved to be profitable in those. But this was one of the weeks where both of our lineups did very well. We were able to come through. Our showdown lineup did not do as well, but this lineup specifically earned us $5. Definitely set us up. Some of the props have done well. We did well in best ball. So we are going to be doing a contest for the Super Bowl. So that's an exciting thing. We are going to be doing a extra couple of lineups for the Super Bowl to kind of celebrate, to put a bow on it. Let's put a bow on this weekend's contest, though. Just overview. We talked a lot about the games, so let's just get some player takes. What did you guys think about this lineup? Do you think we could have done it any better? Because, you can obviously look at the snowflake and say, like, oh, I wish we would have played, X. But who knows what we would have done otherwise. I actually thought this was a very well constructed lineup, and I actually think we've been
from what ended up winning, like a Rice, Bateman to Zay Flowers and some other receiver was basically all we were off. Oh, yeah. And going down to the Chiefs defense from the Ravens.
Yeah.
You play the Chiefs defense over the Ravens, and then you flip Rice and Bateman to Zay Flowers and whoever fit. And that's just, we basically had the nuts everywhere else. Like McCaffrey,
you could pretty much play any quarterback.
J-Mo was the best cheat play that went off. Like Kelsey was necessary.
As long as you didn't play
or a 3v3. Yeah. 150 was a good score. I think only it was 180 or something that took everything down. Yeah. Something like that. Well, and Flowers is 20 or 30 points over Rice would have gotten us close anyway.
Well, not to mention, and it wasn't even a J-Mo touchdown conversion on that drive, so it's not like, it would have taken away from J-Mo's performance. But Jared Goff and Sam Laporta were like a fingernail away from pulling at least a big catch, if not a breakaway touchdown away, that would have probably been at least 15.
And
Points.
J-Mo
Oh yeah,
should have
that
had
could have
3
flipped this
touchdowns.
lineup. That would have
J-Mo-
flipped this lineup completely. Yeah,
J-Mo should have had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, JMO also dropped one as well.
like Detroit did it good, but they just didn't do quite enough for this lineup
Right.
to hit the
And
way.
that's another thing I was going to mention quickly is one of JMO's was on a reverse. Gov talked about creativity and Ben Johnson doing creative things with Dan Campbell's offense. One of those touchdowns was on a 42-yard reverse, so that obviously took away from Jared Goff's offensive potential because he doesn't get points for that. So if Jared just gets another 8-9
But
points,
no quarterback really hit this week. What was the top quarterback score? It wasn't high.
I would have to guess it was Mahomes.
Like,
I'm gonna-
Purdy
Mahomes
was
had
at-
14.
I'm trying to
I think.
think. Purdy was at
15.
18, and
Yeah, so
Lamar
Purdy
got
was
to, like
top.
Lamar got to like 22. But
Purdy
that
was
was,
top.
Lamar was
did he
so
get
much
up to
more
22?
expensive that the 18 from Purdy was more optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we
Like,
can
Lamar
absolutely
needs to have like 25, 30.
we can
Well,
absolutely
so
live
it's
with
not just
how well Jared Goff did too, because he didn't turn the ball over.
No, like I don't think Goff did poorly. Like I can deal with Goff.
That's my
Literally,
thing
I
about-
think like just getting off of Rice and Bateman for Flowers, and like even if it was just MVS, like
Well,
I think that would have
MVS,
done.
yeah, he caught the game-winning pass. Somehow he had a deep ball and caught it. I couldn't believe it.
I
That
love how
actually
he just-
We got
shocked
a
me
lot right
when,
in this lineup. So like
when the ball was dropping into MVS's hands, I was so certain that he was going to drop it, but he used his whole body and just fell to the ground.
See, Gov, I think we've been building towards this lineup for a while. And sometimes you get results oriented, and it's like, well, because we didn't win or because it was a min cash, we didn't give enough credit. I feel like we've been building really smart double tight end lineups like this for a while, and it's one of those,
Playoffs.
yeah, and it's one of those things that you just said we built a good lineup. I think we were closer to the good luck of this lineup doing a lot better than it failed. Like you could say oh, maybe Jameson Williams was lucky to get 2 touchdowns in this game, but we were also 2 touchdowns potentially, or at least bigger scores away from Jared Goff and Sam Laporta. We got very unfortunate for Jared Goff to have that much efficiency and play that well and not have the. So I don't like to play that devil's advocate kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, if Sam would have caught this, and it's just like you said it, Gov. This is a good lineup, and we should just relish and appreciate this lineup for its goodness.
yeah, it
I
makes
know none of
sense.
mine did good.
Like,
Personal.
yeah, I had a couple. I think my best was I'd have to check. I think it was 160. Let me check.
And honestly, if you were gonna nitpick this lineup, and me and Donnie talked about it, and I was honest, I faded McCaffrey, and the reason for fading McCaffrey made sense because the line had stopped most running backs for yardage totals. They had stopped most receiving, running backs for yardage totals.
155 was my best lineup. Okay.
155.
Is it kind of weird that McCaffrey was only at 60.8%? I would have expected 75 or higher.
Honestly, on a 2-game slate, I was too, but there also wasn't much value. I remember talking with everyone on Saturday night. It's we were all having a discussion about the same 4 guys for value: Bateman, Watson, MVS, and fuck. I can't remember what it was.
Jameson?
We were all. It wasn't JMO because we were trying to get off JMO chalk.
I see.
But we all had the same build trying to get in CMC, and we all needed a cheap receiver. It's so we were all debating MVS over Watson, over Bateman, over Aguilar. That's what it was.
Hey, Aguilar had 4 points? I think he had 4.
Yeah.
One big old
No,
catch for
he had
39.
one catch for 39 yards. That's 4.9.
Yep.
Ooh, almost 5.
That's
than
not
Bateman.
bad considering. Yeah.
Yeah, well, either way, with this lineup, I like we said already, if we had gotten off of Bateman and picked Zay Flowers and gotten off the Ravens defense and gone with I think it was the Chiefs defense, we would have been golden. Because I don't like playing Bateman in anything, So, I mean, we got what we got with Bateman, so that's not surprising that we only got
Yeah.
1.2.
No, see, the talent to me was there, but I don't know. He's off my list now.
Yeah, no, I don't see the talent.
It makes sense too in this one because we're not going with a lot of Ravens. You just take that one shot, because remember,
Yeah, and Zay Flowers just got so much work. He was the only one getting work.
well, there was a difference on price. And remember, DraftKings will force you to play some people from other games. We can't just load up on one game. So if you're going to take a stab at the other game, it does make sense for that guy to be the low-owned guy. I still stand by, given the Lions' metrics and how well they've done against running backs, especially this playoff run. They held Kyron Williams to 8 points. Now, Donnie made a good point after that game that I probably should have factored more in. That CMC was a touchdown maker, so I probably should have weighted the touchdowns more than I did. But I'm not surprised that the Lions did so well against him.
Yeah, no, he was about 3 yards per carry, if I'm not mistaken. No, it got up, didn't it?
But if he doesn't get those 2 touchdowns, he fails.
Oh yeah, no. My argument
definitely.
is, I said this, afterwards to Logan, that he scored at least 1 touchdown pretty much in every one of his 30-ish games as a Niner.
No, yeah, that was the stat. Like, he had scored a touchdown in every game he started.
No, except for one. There's only one game where he.
I was about to say it broke recently, like right at the end of the season.
So that's where my mistake was. Is in my personal lens, I probably should have factored in that he was just such a heavy touchdown favorite because I know Gov was kind of.
That's why I played him. Like, he had the highest touchdown upside of anyone on that slate, and that included Kelsey playing for Swifty. Like, there was no one else going to get a touchdown more than
also. Speaking of which.
Do we?
McCaffrey.
We need to speak of which?
Yeah. McCaffrey, showdown-wise, I don't think Logan will concede the fact that he was still the best captain. But how do you guys feel? Like, what do your metrics say, Gov?
I mean,
because you could have captained someone like J-Mo.
Showdown-wise,
it was J-Mo or him, right?
I cashed with my Debo captains.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just needed to have J-Mo and CMC.
We did as well. I was going to show that.
Basically, if you had any one of the guys in that game that did score, whether it was you could have had a quarterback at captain, as long as you had J-Mo and CMC with them.
I was actually going to show that lineup next.
Like, my showdown play was a Debo captain, and it was fine.
I think this is
the key is like there weren't enough cheap guys that did enough where I think you could have paid up for CMC captain and made a viable lineup. I think you needed a J-Mo or a Debo or one of the other guys that put up some points to be your captain, and then just make sure you got the 30 from McCaffrey in there. I feel the same way when it comes to us building our Super Bowl lineup for this. Like, I don't see any way we fade McCaffrey in the lineup. But I do think I don't think he needs to be the captain.
Oh yeah, for the Super Bowl, it's just like you say, we already know the captain, right? It is usually.
Yeah, we already know the captain, and we already know he comes. Like,
so, spoiler alert!
Our lineup's going to start Kyle Juszczyk's Christian McCaffrey. Spoiler. Sorry, not sorry.
On the opposite side of that football, I will say that I'm also surprised that Sam Laporta got 13 targets. I didn't think he was going to get open with Fred Warner back there.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it.
I'm not surprised.
I didn't realize that.
I'm not surprised he got the targets. I'm surprised he did that much with him, given how they cover the middle. But I'm not surprised Jared Goff loved him.
Honestly, the Niners were not like
that was the thing. Like if Detroit had won, Laporta was going to be our captain.
Yeah, the Niners didn't even tackle that great this past week. They did not do enough to win this game. I don't think, but they were so much more talented and so much more ready to be there. Purdy got a lot of bailouts, it felt like. Also, Purdy turned into Patrick Mahomes on the rushing side.
Like, again, I'll have to rewatch that game, but like I've heard like Purdy actually like was good in the second half.
If that Ayuk interception, if that Ayuk catch turns into an interception, it turns into he had an awful second half. Right. I will say that.
That 50-50
I mean,
ball.
if they don't win the game, it probably turns into he had an awful game.
Yeah. No, but Purdy did not play good. He did not pass the eye test. He looked off The only thing I will say is, all of a sudden, when in the fourth quarter he decides, I can break sacks and then run for the first down, that's kind of weird.
I mean, he
But-
had to. Like, it
He
sounded
had
like
to, no.
like, from the score, it was like they needed comeback. They needed offense. They needed to take chances to win the game.
But
Purdy
I did
did
not
end
think
up doing
Purdy was
that, it looks like.
capable of that. Like,
What?
capable of breaking sacks and running 10 yards? I didn't think he could.
Well, I mean, no one thinks he can. He came in as Mr. Irrelevant. Literally, no one knows what he actually can do because everyone thought he was going to be undrafted. So, like, that's the big key to Purdy. Is like, I don't think any of us have good info. Like, where did he go to school?
That's a great question.
You
All
don't
I'll
even know
say-
his. You have no idea what his college career was.
Purdy was an Iowa State Cyclone.
Great.
Uh,
So he went to a place that had no offense anyway,
Yeah,
and then was
see,
drafted as Mr. Irrelevant.
That's not true. They graduated David Montgomery out of that school.
So I let me repeat myself. No, I don't. It's not even worth merit. Let's just go move on.
Yeah.
Like
no, but
Purdy did not prove anything in college. That's why he came out as Mr. Irrelevant. But then he goes to San Fran, and like I'm just like, for those who don't realize it, San Fran is this crazy good team that like you realize they got to a Super Bowl 4 years ago with Tevin Coleman and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes. Tevin freaking Coleman.
To be
Forgot
fair, I
about
looked
that
back.
guy.
I looked back because like I wanted to see how different because that was Kansas City versus San Francisco in 2019.
that is a good point. And no
So,
Tyler Matthew
and-
this time.
So what that was Debo's rookie year, along with Greenlaw's rookie year, along with Nick Bosa's rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
The only offensive weapons that are the same, outside of I think one offensive lineman, are Debo, Juszczyk, and Kittle. Everyone else is new.
And
From
Williams, right?
What?
Trent Williams, he said
Trent
outside of
Williams.
offensive line.
Outside of offensive line, like skill
Okay.
players, the only skill players, like new quarterback, new running back, and I had to look. That was a year where Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, and someone else, one of their Davis Price, someone I'm forgetting. But, like, that
Tyrion
was
Davis. Yeah.
it might not have been him. I think he just got. It's another dude. But that was a year where Mostert, Coleman, and another guy,
Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon, all of them started like 2 or 3 games each. They didn't have a consistent starting running back all year, but you combine them and they basically had a 1,600-yard running back.
Until they figured out it was Elijah Mitchell.
I think that might have been it. Like, that might have been Elijah Mitchell's rookie year. But by the time they got to the Super Bowl, it was Tevin Coleman starting. And that's why Kyle Juszczyk had 2 rushing touchdowns in that Super Bowl. Because they didn't have anyone. If Debo was hurt that Super Bowl in his rookie year, Juszczyk was like all the offense. It was Garoppolo and Juszczyk and Kittle. That's all the offense they had in that first Super Bowl. So, Purdy, like, just thinking about that. McCaffrey,
They had Emmanuel Sanders, didn't they?
yes, that was their wide receiver core, was Emmanuel Sanders and Debo Samuel.
Yeah, Jimmy
Rookie
missed a lot of.
Debo Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders.
And Pierre Garcon. Ho, ho,
Was
ho.
Pierre Garcon there?
He was,
Jimmy-
but he was a third receiver, so he wasn't
Oh,
on like the
God.
starting 2.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was not that good back then.
No, like they did not have like that team got them there because of their scheme.
I
But they
will
did
never-
not have talent anywhere. Now they have talent at all those spots. Now, like Ayuk's not a number 1 receiver, but he's not a bad receiver. He's good in the role he plays. You have him and Debo. You still have Kittle. You have Juszczyk. You have the best running back in the league now behind what was the greatest running game I've seen in like 10 years on San Francisco. Because
So
it didn't matter. Like I call them that because even before McCaffrey, they looked like one of the best running teams in the league with Tevin Coleman and young Raheem Mostert and every other dude who got injured for them. Like the last legs of Frank Gore looked like a great running game in this team.
Yeah.
Like this is just
Yeah.
one of the
For
things.
reference, Purdy's runs were like Brady-esque as he just. It was disgusting.
Right,
Like
'cause
it
I
didn't look good. It did not look good
wouldn't
at
think
all.
of Purdy
He just.
as, like, I don't think of Purdy as this scrambling running back. I
It
think
was-
of
it
him
was
as more of
gross
this
and it
game
worked.
manager. But if he's going to use some athleticism, like that's going to make him even better in the Super Bowl. Like I got to watch this game, but you guys are giving me a different feel from what I've heard everyone else talk about when it comes to Purdy.
Eye-wise, he looked very off, at least at first. Sure, he turned it on a bit, but he does. it lingers in the back of my mind how off he looked against a Lions defense that is not considered great.
Mm-hmm. I have a wild question to throw out there that might be too early to ask. If Brock Purdy plays worse or as good as he did against the Lions, which was just ho-hum, do the 49ers draft a quarterback?
No, they can't.
I mean,
They better not, because they haven't had a good track record with it.
not
That's
this
also
year.
true.
Not this year.
Not this year, yeah.
Oh no, actually,
This draft class,
no.
they'd have
Actually,
to trade up.
it would be. They. I could see them if it doesn't go well. Them drafting a quarterback late, like 4th, 5th, 6th round,
Okay, yes, but
and then sitting him and developing him, and not re-signing Purdy to his 5th-year extension at the end of next year.
I will say, Brad Holmes.
That I could see happening if they lose. I don't think so. I think if they win, they probably give him the extension and start signing him right now.
They have
That
a
is
lot of
tough.
capital this year too. They have 2/3, 2/4, 2/5. I mean 2/7. I mean, does one of them go to a late round quarterback?
probably.
I think it's possible.
I will
Because who's
say,
their backup? Sam Darnold on the last year of his contract, and who's the other guy? No one?
They don't have. They traded. Trey Lance to.
Also, Sam
Cowboys,
Darnold is the first quarterback to go into a Super Bowl from the 2018 draft class. So,
Yep, that's true.
Yay!
The third quarterback for the 49ers is Brandon Allen.
okay, yes, so they could draft a late
Yeah,
round
heard.
quarterback as a backup.
Yeah, sit third for a little while and then become the next Jordan Love.
I think it's the new age of the general manager, because Brad Holmes, who in the modern era seemed to do a really good job with the Rams, and then transition over to the Lions and really just.
I mean, to be fair.
transformed.
Oh, sorry. Finish, Logan.
No, I was just saying he's transformed both teams. Like, if you looked at his history with the Rams, and his belief in his style, he took Aaron Donald when a lot of people didn't believe. Eric Ebron was basically taking around.
And to be fair, like right now, if we compare, just go from 2020 on, and just look at it. Look at all the quarterbacks that have been drafted and had to start early.
Mhm.
Your Herberts, CJ, and that from this year, and then look at the other quarterbacks, and it's like, it seems like unless you hit 100% on what could be the next great dude, you should just draft a dude and sit him for a year or two.
That's what Brad Holmes said.
did that.
I
He's
still
the
stand
dude.
by it.
Like,
I still
the ones that
stand
are
by that.
good right now are the ones who did that. Like, Jordan Love looks legitimately solid, and he sat for those years. Like,
I stand by sitting your quarterback.
In fact, that's what
I
Brad
think
Holmes.
that's the way to go. I think some of the GMs are going to start doing it. It's the new owner, new coach stuff that, like, they have to do that kind of
If you
stuff.
could
Like, that's
have
what
patience,
Carolina had to
like,
do. But,
I
like,
will say,
Indy was preparing to do that. It's just Richardson looked better, so they started him anyway. But
Yeah.
like, he probably should have sat a year behind Minshew just to get acclimated, get his body ready.
by
for
the way,
NFL.
hey, that is Pro Bowler Gardner Minshew. Thank you very much.
Oh, fuck off with that. That doesn't mean anything anymore. They don't even play the game anymore because it's useless. But yeah, in case people forgot, yeah, Patrick Mahomes played one fucking game in his sophomore season, and then he started in his third season,
Yes.
and that just further proves the point that most
He started
quarterbacks
your
are not ready to go when they get drafted. You have to sit and get ready for the NFL level, otherwise you're just setting them up to fail with a system if they're in a system that's not ready for them.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
say this.
I
He
have to go
started-
dark after that bullshit. I can't.
He's-
I can't.
So
He
we were
started year
debating,
two,
though.
Evan.
Say what?
He started year two. His sophomore year, he started.
Who?
Mahomes.
He played one game.
Yeah, he played one game in his
No,
first
that's
year.
what I'm saying. No,
His
no,
rookie-
no. His sophomore year was
His
the one
sophomore
he
year he
played the
started.
last game of the season
Yeah.
for Alex Smith. He
Yeah.
spent his entire rookie year.
I think you're
Didn't
wrong.
even see the field.
Yeah.
It was his second year that he played week 17 or whatever it was.
I'm
Yeah.
almost 100% sure you're wrong.
So
I have the stats in front of me, Donnie. That's what it says.
He legit sat his entire rookie year.
He didn't play one game outside of preseason.
And then I believe he won the Super Bowl the year he started.
2017 was his rookie year.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Actually, wait.
No, wait.
2017 was his rookie year.
I may have read that wrong. 2017, he played one game in his rookie year, and for him,
Yes.
it was his sophomore season when Alex Smith basically handed it off.
Okay, yeah. So his second. Okay, so he did play that last game of his rookie.
Yeah, no, he played that last game in his rookie year, and we.
I
saw
remember
a
him
flash.
playing that last game.
Yeah, that
and
last
I
game.
also remember people thinking like, this is something Andy Reid doesn't usually do. He usually sits him the full year. But I guess Mahomes was good enough, and Alex Smith is a smart guy that was getting him ready. It's like, just give him the last game. They sat him. They didn't need it. Like, they'd already made the playoff.
If you remember, though, that last game was the game where we already saw Mahomes flash, where he rolled out to the left, he was getting tackled as he threw it, and he changed the ball to his left hand and threw a left-handed passing for completion. Like we saw a flash in his first game against.
Well, no, but again, that had him sit behind the offense all year, learn the system, learn the NFL, and then in his first game, you see flashes of how good he can be.
Yes.
Which is why they even played him in that first game.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, he is what we've been seeing, which is Patrick fucking Mahomes.
So, well, let me put a full diversion on this and kind of wrap this up here, because we're talking about development. You know, when me and Gov first started this podcast and we were working out the kinks and we were trying to figure out what kind of chemistry would work and who we wanted on the show, we're like, you know, these hour shows, we don't know if they'll work. You know, we might be going a bit too long. We've gained more live viewers in the last 2 weeks, especially in these longer shows, than the shorter shows. We thought we were going to go short today. We thought, like, oh, we don't get that much to talk about. Goes hungry, you know, working hard, coming home in a rush. We don't know how much, and then we end up going an hour and 10 minutes. So I do want to go off to his nice dinner, and I can sit down so Evan can get some sleep, and so we can rejuvenate it on, what is it, Wednesday? Tomorrow?
Yep.
It's Wednesday
Here's,
tomorrow.
here's the thing, in case we
Wednesday
only
in
have one show
22
this week, here's what I need from everyone. The Super Bowl's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need a one-item menu, the thing that you need at the Super Bowl party. One food item that, it could be your favorite food, it could be a food you like to cook, it could have some kind of impact to why it's important for the Super Bowl. What's the one thing every Super Bowl party needs?
Well,
Evan, go ahead.
the Super Bowl's ruined for me because they changed it a week later, and now it's not on my birthday weekend, so I can't have Super Bowl birthday parties.
Okay, I'll still give you a birthday. if that's the one thing you need, your Super Bowl party, we can make that work.
You could still have a belated celebration.
That's what I do. So I need my
Donnie's
birthday cake.
I was about to say, Donnie's Super Bowl food is birthday cake. Leftover birthday cake.
Yeah. There you go.
It's going to go great with my cold pizza.
So what's the one item, though, Evan, that you need as a Super Bowl party? Maybe it's a meal that you make. It's an appetizer you need. What's the one thing to go to?
I'll be honest, like, I cannot remember the last Super Bowl party I attended in recent history. Like, I just don't, like, most of my friends all moved away from the Chicagoland area, so, like, I'm not near anybody who invites me to this kind of stuff.
You're watching the Super Bowl?
But otherwise, it's probably something that's salty, just because it's teams that I hate. So.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Put some
I like
extra.
that. I like that.
Yeah. Get some sea salt on that pizza for Evan.
Delicious. Get my sodium levels so high that my blood pressure goes up.
Okay, so we're gonna have a cold. So I'm doing cold pizza. You're doing okay. So what we need is a caramel sea salt ice cream birthday cake.
I like it.
There we go.
There we go.
So I've hosted a Super Bowl party for almost a decade. Then I took a year off, and I don't think I'll be hosting another one. But I'll tell you what, here's what we would do. So we would always eat after the first quarter, right? I'd have this big meal we'd eat after the first quarter. Here's the move. Everyone always eats at halftime, right? They order pizza. First of all, don't order pizza at halftime. Everyone orders pizza. Your pizza's going to get delivered slow, not on time. It's going to be sloppy.
I don't know anyone who's like all the food is there and probably eaten before the game starts.
Yeah, that's a good move too.
I'm not ordering anything at halftime. If there's no more food at halftime, everyone's gonna starve by the fourth quarter.
Oh, see, at my house, we always had way too much food beforehand because it was a birthday party, and then we had so much left over.
Yeah. Even with me, I'm gonna plan for my family and then whatever. But we're gonna have that food. If the game starts at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we're going to be having dinner's going to be delivered at 4:35.
See, I'm preaching to the choir here. I must be talking to the audience because we're already experts at this. I'm telling you, I've hosted a party for a decade. Do not do the halftime. Try to sit down and have a meal. Here's another tip. Here's what halftime is good for, right? The hot halftime show's on. There's usually good dancing, good movement. That's when you serve your cold dessert ice creams. That's when everyone wants that little sweet treat. Make sure you get the salty snacks out of the way before the game. Let that be the puppy ball extravaganza. But don't eat at halftime. It's a bad move.
God, man.
I just eat all throughout the game. The whole
puppy
game I'm
bowl?
eating.
Now I'm remembering something that I really miss from Super Bowl week. Man.
Go for it. Why not?
What?
What is it? What is it?
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh, that's good times, man.
Where's my Celebrity Deathmatch at halftime?
See,
That's what I miss.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I understand the Puppy Bowl's on the Animal Planet. I like all these halftimes. Everyone's going to have their own different halftime thing. We don't get Taylor Swift versus Eminem like the script wanted. So now I have to deal with Usher and Reba McEntire and whatever they do. God, I wish we need Celebrity Deathmatch. I need claymation, Trump, Biden. That's what we need.
No.
You're all in agreement with me. We need Trump, Biden, Celebrity Deathmatch.
I got one that competes with that. Remember, I think it was 1990, either 98 or 99.
No,
WWF halftime heat, Rock versus Mankind.
Yes,
remember that?
Remember that? Yes.
Yes, that was the best one ever.
They just put Trump and Biden in the dome of devastation, and we got this. Okay.
What if we just had him do a
special
rap
guest
battle?
referee, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's all there. Do it.
Trump's already taken the stunner once. He can take another.
He's already been on. I'm pretty sure Trump survived the death match already. They probably have his claymation ready to go. You just got to make a crappy looking Biden, which he already looks like crap. So it's easy.
So, I threw out your
You can look half melted in claymation. It actually makes sense then.
Gov, I already promoted your Twitch channel where you play a lot of games. I think this has got to be an off-season topic. We have to come up with a fun kind of show built around the celebrity deathmatch scenarios and opponents we would want to see go against each other.
We need a bracket. Yeah, we need a bracket here.
We could definitely we got March. When we get to March, we might do that.
God,
Might be a good idea.
that's
Pull out a show bracket for March for something, even if it's something funny. I love what Levitard does, where once they get the actual bracket, they attach certain things like sayings, their looks like game is what they do. So it's
I want to
all
do
these
fun
different.
things like
Andy Reid looks like an old man coming
Andy
down.
Reid looks like a walrus.
Yeah, that's one of them. Andy Reid looks like a walrus. Well, that's a 4 seed. And they just attach a 4 seed and then see how far it gets in the tournament. I could see us doing something like that with our death match, death match matches, and see which
These
one.
are the types of things I want to do in the offseason.
But yeah, we got plenty of ideas. We'll figure out something during the off season.
So,
Yeah, we got plenty of filler.
I was giving you my halftime etiquette. Here's what you need to do. Forget all the easy tropes, right? Don't serve nachos. Don't serve hot wings. First of all, no one wants to eat hot wings. First of all, they're messy. They're not good finger food.
I love wings. I love wings.
I love how
I
love
don't care
wings.
how messy I look.
I
will
love
look messy
wings.
for some wings.
You can still pull it all off for Logan. You just have to have the right people.
Yeah, Claire, you just don't have enough beer drinkers.
I don't know, man. I've always loved Mediterranean food, to be honest with you. And
I will be right back.
a nice charcuterie of meat, cook it all up, ground pork, have some tzatziki, do some pitas. That's the kind of stuff I get behind. I'm very Mediterranean. Give me some hummus. All these American cheese dishes, man. You can save all that.
I've never known a Super Bowl party that's ever done that. That I'd be open to.
Dude, I've always served unique. I've done shish kebabs at my Super Bowl parties. I've done chicken shawarma at my Super Bowl parties. Trust me, I'm a bit out there with my food, but
Yeah, a mainstay for us was always deviled eggs.
Yeah, I can see. I love eggs.
That's
man.
the only time of year we have it. We only
I
have
love
deviled
eggs.
eggs. Yeah, deviled eggs every Super Bowl party we have it.
But here, honestly though, I just love to surprise my guests with something they don't expect, but it's super easy. And pitas and like some kind of meat with a pickled vegetable just is so delicious. It's so underrated. It's so easy to prepare. It
How
really
off
is.
the rails are we gonna get?
I don't know, but I've had food sitting here for an hour.
I know
You
we
guys
talked
are
about
really,
food.
like
I
you guys
know-
are really fucking with me right now.
Speaking of which, Gov, you're the only guy who hasn't given a food take yet. You talked about having food. Give people
No,
the.
I gave the
We
food
did-
thing.
we
I'm gonna
did
have cold
cold
pizza.
pizza.
We're probably gonna have pizza the day before. I'm gonna have leftover pizza, and then we're probably gonna order hot
So,
wings. Like
cold
that's what we
pizza-
do at every Super Bowl.
cold pizza like that old ESPN.
Like unless they
wing
ask me to
pizza.
bring pizza home from Mello that day.
Gotcha.
Like they've had like when I worked at Little Caesars, that would be like a lot of times I've worked at pizza places. So like I usually have to work Super Bowl Sunday. When I don't, they usually have me bring some home. But like pizza and wings, like that's
I've only
That's
ever had the
Super Bowl
wings
prep.
at Mellow Mushroom, and they're pretty good.
yeah,
Pretty good
wings are
wings.
okay.
You can't go wrong with pizza. That's the one traditional food I
Got
can
a
get
freaking
behind.
pizza right here. I'm trying to eat, but it's sitting here getting cold.
All right, man, I got you.
Cold
We'll
pizza's
get
good.
out of here.
Again, that's why I said I'll just have cold pizza. Sure, fine. It's talking about it.
Appreciate the man. He's willing to eat cold pizza to entertain you. So we want to thank you for joining us. Again, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the content. We've kept two or more viewers recently. Our viewer count's went up. We appreciate all the extra attention. Shout out. We'll probably see you later on this week. We'll get bored and we'll waste an hour with you guys as usual. But in case we don't, we will build a showdown Super Bowl lineup. It will be
Multiple.
for the Millie.
We're gonna enter the Millie. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're entering the Millie. I'm protesting it inside, trust me, but we are.
And then
Oh, I know. Like this is something we normally like bankroll management. This is something I wouldn't say like. The one thing I would say with bankroll management is don't just go YOLO with it. Just like, oh, it's the end of the season. Let's enter the thing. Like, that's not the smart thing to do.
We've earned it.
That being said, we've had a good year. Logan's had a good year. I've had a good year.
I've had a great year.
We've made money in our best ball.
Yeah,
Let's actually shoot for the moon. Because
I do
when
think
it
it's.
comes to the Super Bowl, when it comes to Super Bowl showdown, all the contests are going to be good, but everyone's going to enter like all of the main people, they're going to enter everything. All the people who 150 max, they're entering everything. So it doesn't matter what tournament we get into, we're probably going to have the same finish. Our lineup is going to finish in the same fashion.
Mhm.
So my thought is, let us actually shoot for something big.
I will
Like,
say,
we could throw it in the $1 single entry. We could throw it in the $10 single entry, one of the rake frees. But we're probably going to just, like, it's showdown. Like, I
no.
kind of want to just take the shot at the big money.
So we'll take a shot at the Millie, and then we will do a couple of 3-entry max. That's what I'm committed to. I want to say quickly though, this is the week that most casuals will play. This is like the big spike week in terms of casuals that play Showdown. And if you've never played
Oh, yeah,
Showdown
this is a big
before and
casual
you're
showdown.
casual, you can take advantage of those.
Even more than, like, first game of the year Thursday night.
Yeah.
There will be more people. But it's all, like, we all know, there will be more bets on the Super Bowl than there are on almost any other sport total.
I
There
believe
might
on
be
one
more
site
bets
you
on the
can.
Super Bowl than there are on NBA games throughout the entire month.
Yeah, I believe on one site you can bet on whether Travis will propose on the field.
I thought this year went long. I thought we got off the rails, and Donnie's trying to do it again. And you know what? Juno subscribed. That tells you that we are retaining our viewership. Again, I appreciate all the attention we have been giving recently. The shout outs by Hustle, Juno subbing. All that really does matter. I don't want to hold over Gov any longer, though. He's already went on long enough of a hunger
Yeah, I
streak.
know. I want to eat dinner, but then I just also looked at the chat and I'm like, Yamcha would destroy Chopper. Like, I'm sorry, as crappy as Yamcha is, he would destroy Chopper. And I love me Chopper.
Go, we got to save this stuff for your Twitter
Chopper
channel.
could triple rumble ball and Yamcha's still beating his ass. He doesn't even need par.
We got to save this for your Twitch channel, man. They got to jump over your Twitch and subscribe.
Talk to me about anything. I'll talk about this kind of stuff. We'll talk
know you
about that
will.
kind of crap. Don't worry. Like, I know it's Yamcha, but it's Yamcha.
Look, you've
All
already
right.
lost. You've already lost 20 pounds since you started this podcast. I got to make sure you eat tonight. You're healthy. You're nutritious. You're ready to go for the Super Bowl. Good night, everyone.
Yeah,
Night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
peace out, everyone.